We are going to be making some changes to add the ability to filter or search based on the genre and the title of the movie. And we're going to wait to test this feature until we've got everything in place, because if you test it too early, it's not going to work. So um, we are, first of all, going to start by changing the code behind the index. Okay, so this is in our under pages and movies. Under index, we're going to choose our C# code. And then we are going to be adding some code to create our search string. And we're going to actually bind that to what people key in the URL. And then we are also going to create a genre property that is a select list from our select list collection, and that is nullable. And then we are going to create a movie genre, and this is also a property. And it is also something that they would be able to key in the URL. And anytime you're going to do that, you need to use supports get. You need to set that to true. That's referring to the HTTP get when you post a form. And if you remember from your HTML, when you submit a form, the action can be get or post. The difference is if it's get, you can see the information in the URL. And that is actually what we need so that we can pull the title or the genre from the URL. So I'm going to pause here while I enter some properties. And the properties were entered right below the iList for movie. And you can see I've got my search string. This is going to be used for the title. We're going to bind this to the URL, and we're supporting get, which is how it is going to be transmitted. We made it nullable because it doesn't have to be filled in. And then we have a nullable genre list that we're creating. And then finally, we have another feature that could be part of the URL, which is movie genre. So we are binding that. We're supporting the get. And then this is also nullable because they don't have to have it filled in. We are going to modify this on get async method. And this is asynchronous because this is interfacing with the database. So I'm going to pause here while I add the code. All right, so I've got a little link query here that is basically retrieving all of the movies. Okay, and it's storing it here in movies. Then we are checking that search string to see if it's null or empty. And if it's not null or empty, that means there is something there and we need to filter by title. So that is what this is doing. And we do need to change this last line as well. So instead of context here, you'll see what we've done here is we have kind of pulled in everything and stored it in movies. And we pulled in everything using context. And then we're modifying movies. So what we need here, instead of underscore context, we need movies. Actually, it's just movies dot to list async. So this is sending our movies, whatever they end up being, to a list, basically. Now, if you don't do this little change at the bottom, then your searching, filtering is probably not going to work. So make sure you change that. Okay, and what we're going to do next if you would like to test this, you can, because it should work as long as you've changed this line. That is something that's easy to miss. So make sure you've changed it. And then if you run it, you should be able to get the search string to work. So far, that's all we've coded. We haven't done anything really for the movie genre. Okay, because down here, where it is checking, it's checking for the search string, which is for the title. And that's all we've coded. So if what you want to test is only the title portion, it is going to work. So if you do /movies, and then this is simulating a get. So you have to put in the question mark, search string equals, and then let's say we wanted everything that started with ghost. And we press enter and it will work. Okay, and so what was another one? Let's just do movies to see all of them. And let's see if this works. Okay, so that is working too. It brought Rio Bravo and Ghostbusters. So you can test this out for any combination of letters in the titles. Again, this is all you can test at this point because we haven't really fully coded genre. And if you have not adjusted this line, it is not going to work. Okay, so make sure you adjust this line because if you look at our code here, this movie object is where all of the data is being stored. So that is what you need to put into the list. And they do show you an option for instead of having to do the question mark and search string, they've got a little option that would allow slashes. And that involves changing the view. And I'm going to change it and show you what it does. You do not have to do this because you're directed to remove this after you put it in. Okay, but what this does is it basically tells the Razor page here that we have a search string. And then instead of having to key in the question mark, we can key in slashes instead. So here we're looking at our index. And then if we wanted to filter, as long as that code is in the view, you can have movies / and then whatever it is you want to filter by. Okay, and I actually like this better than having to key in question marks. Okay, but we are going to go ahead and remove that because there's additional things we're going to do to this page. And so we don't want this as a permanent change. Okay, so I'm just going to get rid of that little section I added. And we are going to continue on. What we are going to do is modify our CS/HTML, and we're going to add a little input box that they can then key in what they want to search for regarding the title. And so this is going to go above our table and below the create new title. And I'm going to pause here. We have added a little form, and by little, I mean really little, because we only have one input field. So here we've got our title, and then we have input type as text, and we have ASP4 search string. So basically what this is going to do is it's going to bind whatever is in the URL for the search string to this little input box. And if you key in the search string, like you type it into the input box, it's going to bind that data as well. And then below that, we have a submit button, okay, that actually shows the word filter on it. So let's save that. And go ahead and run this. And we want to get to our index page for the movies. And here is our little title box. And so instead of keying this up in the URL, you know, with the question mark, search string equals, we can now just put the title that we want in here and hit filter. Okay, or any portion of the title that we want and run our filter. So at this point, our little filter by title is done. And what we're going to do is add the capability to filter by genre. And that is going to involve changing the C# file behind this page, which technically we are looking at that as our view model. And then we are also going to be changing the view, the CS HTML itself. So let's close this. And we are going to be going into index.cshtml.cs, our C# file. And we've already got genre information up here. So we're declaring the properties. What we haven't done is adjusted the onGetAsync method so that it actually will do some filtering or searching by genre. So that is what we are going to add next. So I'm going to pause while I'm adding the code, and then we'll talk about it. Alrighty, so what we've done here is we did another LINQ query to retrieve the genres. And so the collection we're using is iQueryable. Okay, and if you pause over there, you can see what the purpose of that is. It allows us to perform queries against data, okay, the data that we retrieve. And so we're storing that in a string. This is what we're calling it, genre query. And then here is the LINQ query. Okay, so we are basically going to retrieve all of the genres and we are going to sort them. They are going to be stored here. Okay, in this line, we are retrieving all of the movies. Okay. And then we've already talked about this code where it's seeing if the search string is filled in. So we added something similar for genres. It is seeing if movie genre is filled in. And if it is filled in, then we're taking that full list of movies and we are filtering by the genre. Okay, and so we are seeing if the genre, this is the genre that they typed in, does that equal the movie genre that we have basically in our, you know, list of movies. Okay, and if they are equal, then it is going to display it. Okay, so we can go ahead. And we really haven't gotten to this select list code. We're going to talk about that in a minute. All right, so let's just see if the search works. So we're still going to look at movies, but now we don't have a search box yet. So we're going to do the question mark here. But instead of the search string property, we are going to put in the movie genre property. And so Western actually was the only one that I could remember. So I'm going to press enter. And here we get the Western. And if I just bring this up without a filter, you can see all of them. So if I wanted to do comedy, and then I can do movie genre equal comedy. Right? And I can filter by that too. So what we're going to do next is we are going to add the feature to the actual view itself. And this is where genres is going to come into play because it is going to create a drop-down list with all of the genres filled in. Okay, so this is a little separate from the filtering feature. For the filtering feature, really, all we needed was this. Okay, and so we've already declared movie genre up here. Okay, we've said that it supports GET, so it can be in the URL, and we're going to bind whatever they type in to this property. And then we use the property here in the filter. Okay, that is what is allowing us to do the search. This code is basically retrieving all the genres. Okay, and this code is removing the duplicates from the list of genres and putting them into a list. Okay, and that is what this part of it is doing. Okay, and then it is ultimately storing it in a select list. And this is important because if you want to do a drop-down list, it has to be a select list. Okay, and we're storing that in genres. Okay, so you need to understand that before we actually add this drop-down list into our index.cshtml. So let me save everything so far. We're going to come over here and we're going to add to this form that we created. And the code that we're going to add is for a drop-down list. So I'm going to pause here. So this select that I just added is going to create a drop-down list. We're connecting it to movie genre. Okay. And this ASP items is going to actually generate the drop-down list for us. So it's using all of the genres that are in the database to populate our list. We're giving it the first value, which is all, and that'll be kind of the default. And then the rest are going to be generated by this ASP, this little helper. Okay, so that is what's going on. It makes generating a drop-down list from the information in your database. The helpers make it super easy to do that. Okay, and again, if you go back and look at the C#, this is actually what is creating our select list, populating it with data. That data is being brought into here. Okay, and it's this command that is generating the options. So I'm going to save everything and I'm going to run it so you can see what it looks like. All right, so we want to get to movies and index. And here you can see our drop-down list. And it lets us select. And then we can filter based on genre. And of course, all is available. So we can see everything. And I should show you that with the title, if you do filter on title, and then you want to see everything again, you just remove the title and hit filter, and it'll show you everything again. Okay, so that is searching and filtering. Our next little video is going to show you how to add another field. So that will involve adding a property to our model and updating our database. And then in addition to that, we are going to have to change the view.